The Galactic Council was buzzing with excitement. Delegates from different planets gathered in the Grand Hall, ready to celebrate their recent victory over the humans. Bright lights flashed and colorful banners adorned the walls. Music filled the air as delegates, dressed in their finest attire, mingled and laughed. This was a moment of pride for the Council, a time to showcase their strength and unity. Counselor Zara, a tall and proud figure with shimmering blue skin, stood at the center of the hall. She smiled as she addressed the crowd. "Today, we celebrate our triumph over the humans. They believed they could challenge us, but we showed them the power of the Galactic Council." Cheers erupted from the crowd, echoing throughout the hall. Everyone raised their glasses in agreement, feeling a sense of superiority. As the festivities continued, Counselor Rix, a wise and thoughtful delegate, felt uneasy. He watched the celebration with a frown, pondering the cost of their victory. Have we truly defeated them, he wondered? Rix recalled the fierce battles and the bravery of the humans. They had fought hard, and many lives were lost on both sides. While others celebrated, he sensed a growing storm on the horizon. The Grand Hall was filled with laughter and dancing. Delegates shared stories of their victories over humans, boasting about their clever strategies and advanced technology. One delegate, a short green creature named Thog, stood on a table, waving his arms dramatically. "I saw a human ship. It was nothing but a tin can. We took it down with ease." The crowd roared with laughter, slapping each other on the back, enjoying the tales of their supposed superiority. But not everyone shared in the joy. In a quiet corner of the hall, a small group of delegates whispered among themselves. They were worried about the Council's treatment of the humans. "We may have won, but at what cost?" one of them asked. "What if the humans come back for revenge?" Another delegate nodded in agreement, fear creeping into their hearts. They knew the Council was blinded by their victory, ignoring the potential consequences of their actions. Meanwhile, a young human named Maya sat in a dark corner unnoticed. She had snuck into the celebration, determined to learn about the Council and their plans. As she listened to the laughter and the boasting, anger swelled within her. "They think they have won," she thought, clenching her fists. "But they don't understand us. We will rise again!" Maya knew her people were strong and resilient. They would not back down easily. Back in the center of the hall, the celebration continued. Delicious food was served and delegates danced joyfully. Counselor Zara raised her glass once more. "To the Galactic Council! May we continue to shine bright in the galaxy!" The crowd echoed her words, feeling invincible. But little did they know, their arrogance would soon lead to trouble. As the night wore on, the celebration turned into a wild party. Laughter and music filled the air, masking the growing tension outside. A few delegates remained uneasy, feeling a strange shift in the atmosphere. The stars outside twinkled like watchful eyes, reminding them that the galaxy was vast and unpredictable. While the Council celebrated, human survivors were gathering their strength. They were planning, strategizing, and preparing for their next move. Maya had returned to her group, sharing everything she had overheard. "They think they can laugh at us forever," she said, determination burning in her eyes. "We will show them that humanity is not easily defeated." The Galactic Council's grand celebration would soon become a memory, overshadowed by the consequences of their actions. The party, filled with joy and laughter, hid a growing storm that would soon burst forth, changing everything. The Council's belief in their victory blinded them to the truth. The humans were not finished yet. As the night came to a close, the delegates staggered out of the hall, their heads spinning from drink and pride. The Galactic Council had celebrated their victory, but in their hearts, some began to wonder if they had made a grave mistake. The galaxy was vast, and soon they would face the consequences of their actions. The first signs of trouble were on the horizon, and the Council had yet to realize that the real battle was only beginning. The days following the Galactic Council's grand celebration were filled with unexpected events. At first, everything seemed normal. Delegates returned to their home planets, boasting about their victory. However, behind the scenes, a dark cloud began to form, hinting at trouble ahead. On the planet Valoria, a bustling trade hub, ships started to vanish. At first, it was just one or two, but soon, the number grew. Captain Fira, a respected trader, was worried. She had just returned from a long journey when she heard the news. "How can so many ships just disappear?" she asked her crew, fear creeping into her voice. They exchanged worried glances, unsure of what to believe. We need to find out what is happening, she declared, determined to uncover the truth. Back at the Galactic Council, Counselor Rix was alarmed by the reports. He called an emergency meeting with the other council members. "We must discuss the missing ships," he said, his brow furrowed with concern. "This is not just a coincidence. Something is wrong." The other delegates exchanged uneasy looks, but Counselor Zara dismissed his worries. "It's just pirates or bad weather." "We have won! We should celebrate!" she insisted, her voice strong. Rick shook his head, feeling ignored and frustrated. He could sense that the Council's overconfidence was blinding them to real dangers. Meanwhile, on Earth, the human survivors were busy regrouping. Maya and her team of brave fighters met in a hidden cave, discussing their next steps. "We can't let them think they've defeated us," Maya said, her voice steady. "We need to show them we are still here and stronger than ever." Her friends nodded, inspired by her words. They had been working on new strategies, and their spirits were high, despite the odds against them. Back at the council meeting, reports kept pouring in. More ships had vanished, and strange attacks were happening across the galaxy. Counselor Rick stood up again, his voice shaking with urgency. "This is not just random. We must take action! We need to send out scouts to investigate." Some delegates agreed, but others were reluctant. "Why waste resources on a problem that might not exist?" one delegate argued. Zara's confidence remained strong, but deep down, she began to wonder if she was right to ignore Rix's warnings. As the days passed, the situation grew worse. Panic spread through the galaxy. Ships were now being attacked, their cargo stolen. The Council struggled to keep control, and the mood shifted from celebration to fear. People began to whisper about the humans, questioning if they had truly been defeated. Some believed that humanity had found a way to fight back. On the planet Zoltar, a renowned scientist named Dr. Lyra was studying the strange events. She gathered her team in her lab, filled with machines and glowing screens. "We need to analyze these attacks," she said. "I believe there is a pattern." Her team worked tirelessly, trying to connect the dots. They discovered that the missing ships had all traveled near a specific route, the route to Earth. Meanwhile, back on Earth, Maya and her team were putting their plan into action. They set up small attacks on Council supply ships, showing their strength. The news spread quickly, igniting hope among the human survivors. "Look! We can stand up to them!" one fighter shouted, grinning widely. They worked together, forming alliances and sharing resources, ready to face the Council's might. Back at the Galactic Council, the situation was growing dire. Rix pushed for immediate action. "We must send out ships to patrol the routes. We can't let this go on!" But once again, Zara resisted, still clinging to her belief in their victory. "We cannot show weakness," she argued. The tension among the council members grew, with some fearing they were losing control. As strange happenings continued to unfold, the council's arrogance began to crack. The missing ships were a sign that something bigger was coming. Rix's warnings echoed in their minds, and doubts crept in. The celebration that once seemed like a victory now felt like a distant memory. The council was beginning to realize that their arrogance might lead to their downfall, and the humans, underestimated and fierce, were ready to rise once more. The galaxy was in a state of uncertainty, and the consequences of their actions were starting to unravel. The council could no longer ignore the truth. They had awakened a sleeping giant, and strange happenings were only the beginning of the chaos to come. The tension in the galaxy grew as the Galactic Council struggled to control the chaos that had erupted. Reports of missing ships and sudden attacks filled the airwaves, and the Council was losing its grip on the situation. But while the Council members argued and debated, something powerful was happening among the humans. On Earth, Maya and her team had been hard at work, gathering resources and planning their next moves. They understood that they needed to adapt quickly to the changing circumstances. In a hidden bunker deep in the forest, they gathered to discuss their strategy. "We cannot fight them head-on," Maya said, her eyes shining with determination. "We need to be smarter and stronger. We must use what we have to our advantage." The team agreed, and they began to create a plan. They divided into smaller groups to scout and gather information. Some would look for old technology, while others would recruit more fighters. The atmosphere buzzed with excitement and hope. Each member felt a growing sense of unity and purpose. They were no longer just survivors, they were becoming a force to be reckoned with. Meanwhile, on the planet Zoltar, Dr. Lyra made a breakthrough. After days of research, she discovered that the patterns of the attacks were connected to the human survivors. "Look here," she said, pointing to her screen. "These attacks are not random. They are coordinated. The humans are working together, planning their moves." The other scientists gasped, realizing the implications. The Council had underestimated humanity, and now they were about to face the consequences. As the scientists shared their findings, fear began to spread among the Council members. They held another emergency meeting, this time with a different tone. Counselor Rick stood up, his voice filled with urgency. "We must act now! The humans are growing stronger every day. They are not defeated. They are regrouping." Some delegates nodded in agreement, while others looked hesitant. Zara, however, remained confident. "We can crush them easily. We just need to send more ships," she insisted. But the doubts in the room began to grow, and Rix felt hope that they might finally see the truth. Back on Earth, Maya's team was making progress. They had found an old military base filled with forgotten weapons and technology. "This is it!" Maya exclaimed, her heart racing with excitement. The base was a treasure trove of potential. They worked day and night to repair the machines and gather supplies. The sound of machinery filled the air as the team brought old ships back to life. With each passing day, their confidence grew. They launched small, coordinated attacks on Council supply routes, successfully stealing food, weapons, and technology. Each successful raid boosted their morale. News of their victories spread among the human survivors, inspiring more people to join their cause. "We can do this," they shouted, their spirits lifted. Maya's leadership became a beacon of hope. As the attacks continued, the Galactic Council felt the pressure mounting. Reports of missing supplies flooded in, and panic spread among the delegates. Counselor Rick stood up again, determined to convince them of the truth. "We are facing a real threat! The humans are not just fighting back, they are organizing. We must respond with strength." Some delegates finally began to see the light, nodding in agreement. But Zara, still clinging to her belief in their victory, dismissed the warnings. "They are just a bunch of rebels. We can easily crush them." Her confidence seemed misplaced, and the others began to worry. Rix felt frustration rise within him. He knew the truth, but convincing the Council was proving difficult. Back on Earth, the human fighters were preparing for their most ambitious plan yet. They aimed to launch a large-scale attack on a key Council supply base. Maya stood before her team, her voice steady and inspiring. "This is our moment. We will show the Council that we are not to be underestimated. Together we can turn the tide." Cheers erupted from her team, and they felt a renewed sense of strength. As night fell, they gathered around a fire, sharing stories of their victories and dreams of freedom. The camaraderie between them grew stronger, and they felt like a family united in a common cause. The bond between the fighters became their greatest strength. The Galactic Council, still wrapped in their arrogance, was blind to the rising power of humanity. They had celebrated too soon, failing to recognize the fierce spirit of the humans. Little did they know, the next chapter of this conflict was about to unfold. The humans were no longer hiding in the shadows. They were rising, ready to reclaim their place in the galaxy. The storm was brewing, and the Council would soon face the reality of their mistakes. The day of the final battle had arrived. Tension filled the air as both sides prepared for the clash that would determine the fate of the galaxy. On one side stood the Galactic Council, filled with confidence despite their recent losses. On the other side were the humans, fueled by unity and the hope of reclaiming their future. On Earth, Maya gathered her team in the makeshift command center. Maps and plans covered the walls, showing the layout of the Council supply base they planned to attack. "This is it," Maya said, her voice strong. "Today we fight for our freedom and for every person who believes in us. We have trained hard and we know what to do. Let's make this count." The fighters cheered, their spirits high. They were ready to face whatever came their way. Meanwhile, across the galaxy, the Council was bracing itself for the oncoming attack. Counselor Rick stood with a group of worried delegates. "We cannot underestimate them," he warned. "The humans are organized and determined. We must prepare our defenses." But Zara, still confident, waved her hand dismissively. "We have superior technology. They cannot win against us," she insisted. Rix could see that her overconfidence was blinding them to the truth. As dawn broke, Maya and her team set out toward the Council base. The sun rose over the horizon, casting a warm glow on their faces. They moved quietly, staying hidden in the shadows, ready to strike. Maya led her team with confidence, and they felt a sense of purpose driving them forward. They knew they were fighting for something bigger than themselves. When they reached the base, they paused to take in the scene. Guards patrolled the perimeter and ships buzzed overhead. Maya's heart raced, but she steadied her breath. "Remember the plan," she whispered. "Stick together and stay focused." They nodded, determination shining in their eyes. Suddenly, the ground shook as the first wave of human fighters launched their attack. Explosions rocked the base as they engaged the guards. Maya led her team into the chaos, their hearts pounding with adrenaline. They fought fiercely, using the weapons they had repaired and the skills they had learned. The sounds of battle filled the air, shouts, explosions, and the hum of energy weapons. Meanwhile, the council was caught off guard. Rix watched in disbelief as the humans stormed the base. "They're more organized than we thought," he shouted, panic rising in his voice. Delegates scrambled to activate defenses, but it was too late. The humans were relentless, charging forward with fierce determination. Maya fought alongside her team, her spirit unyielding. They moved as one, covering each other and pushing deeper into the base. The council guards fell back, struggling to hold their ground. "Keep pushing!" Maya yelled, urging her team on. They were making progress, and the taste of victory was near. As they fought their way through, they reached the control room. Maya kicked open the door, and the sight before her was shocking. Counselor Zara stood there, flanked by a group of soldiers. "You think you can defeat us?" Zara sneered, her confidence shaking. "You are nothing but rebels!" Maya stood tall, defiance in her eyes. "We are not rebels, we are humans! We fight for our freedom and our future." With a fierce battle cry, she charged forward. The final showdown began, fierce and intense. Maya's team fought with everything they had, their resolve stronger than ever. The battle raged on, each side refusing to back down. But slowly, the tides began to turn. The humans, fueled by their determination and unity, started to gain the upper hand. One by one, council guards fell, and the control room was filled with the sounds of victory. In a last-ditch effort, Zara attempted to escape, but Maya was quicker. She blocked Zara's path, breathing heavily. "This ends now," Maya declared. With a swift move, she disarmed Zara, forcing her to surrender. The fight was over. As the dust settled, the humans stood victorious, their spirits soaring. They had fought against the odds and reclaimed their freedom. Maya turned to her team, and they embraced in a wave of celebration. They had faced a powerful enemy and emerged stronger than ever. Back in the Galactic Council, Rix watched in shock as the news of their defeat spread. The Council had underestimated humanity, and now they were paying the price. Rix felt a mix of anger and sorrow. "We should have listened," he muttered, knowing the consequences of their arrogance. The final battle marked a turning point in the galaxy. The humans had proven their strength and resilience, ready to reclaim their place among the stars. And as they stood together, united in their victory, they knew that this was just the beginning of a new chapter for humanity. The Council's reign was over, and the future was bright. The dust had settled after the fierce battle, but the excitement and joy among the humans were just beginning. They had faced overwhelming odds and emerged victorious. Maya stood on the steps of the now-abandoned Galactic Council base, taking in the sight of her team celebrating. They hugged, laughed, and cheered, their hearts filled with a sense of freedom they had longed for. Maya couldn't help but smile. She had led them through impossible odds, and now they stood united as a powerful force. "We did it!" she shouted, raising her arms in triumph. The cheers grew louder, and the sound of victory filled the air. But as she looked around, she knew their journey was not yet over. "Now we must rebuild," Maya said, gathering her team. "We have fought for our freedom, but we must also create a new future for ourselves. We need to find a way to protect our home and ensure that no one can threaten us again." The team nodded in agreement, their faces serious but determined. While the humans celebrated, news of the Council's defeat spread throughout the galaxy. Many planets that had lived under the Council's control felt inspired. They had seen the humans fight back and reclaim their future, and now they too wanted to break free from the Council's grasp. Messages of support flooded in from across the stars, and soon other rebel groups reached out to Maya for guidance. Back on Zoltar, Counselor Rix faced a daunting task. The Council was in chaos. Many delegates had fled, leaving behind a power vacuum. Rix knew they had lost the trust of the people. "We must regain our strength," he said to the remaining members. "We cannot allow the humans to take control of the galaxy. They are not just rebels, they are a rising power. But as Rick spoke, doubt hung in the air. The Council had underestimated humanity, and the memories of their defeat were fresh. How can we win back our authority? One delegate asked, fear evident in their voice. Rix felt the weight of their loss pressing down on him. The Council had ignored the signs, and now they were paying the price. Back on Earth, Maya's team met to discuss their plans for the future. They gathered at the former base, transforming it into their new headquarters. We need to create alliances with other planets, Maya explained. Together we can stand against any threat. We cannot allow the Council to regain its power. The team agreed, feeling the urgency of their mission. Maya decided to send messages to other planets, inviting them to meet and discuss a united front against the Council. Soon, representatives from different worlds began to arrive at the base. There was a mix of excitement and nervousness in the air as they gathered to share their stories and experiences. Each planet had faced its challenges, and together they felt stronger. As they shared their stories, Maya realized how similar their struggles had been. They had all faced oppression, and now they had a chance to create a new future. "We are stronger together," Maya declared, her voice firm. "Let us build a coalition that protects our rights and ensures peace in the galaxy. No one should live in fear." The representatives agreed, and they began drafting a new charter for their alliance. It was a historic moment, and the energy in the room was electric. They envisioned a future where all planets could work together, free from the tyranny of the Council. Meanwhile, Rix was becoming desperate. He sent scouts to find out what the humans were doing. He knew they were organizing and that they had united with other worlds. The thought of a coalition forming against the Council filled him with dread. "We must act quickly," he told his remaining allies. "We cannot let them gain more strength." But despite their fear, Rix's words fell on deaf ears. Many delegates had lost their confidence. They realized they had failed to protect their citizens and were terrified of what the humans might do next. As they bickered among themselves, the humans were uniting, creating a force that could not be ignored. Back at the headquarters, Maya looked around at her new allies. "This is just the beginning," she said, her heart full of hope. "Together we will change the galaxy. We will show everyone that we will not be silenced again." With their coalition in place, the humans and their new allies prepared to face whatever challenges lay ahead. They knew that peace would not come easily, but they were ready to fight for their new beginning. The future was bright, and for the first time in a long time, they felt truly free. As the stars twinkled above, Maya and her team stood united, ready to write a new chapter in the history of the galaxy. Their victory was just the first step toward a brighter future, and they would face it together, hand in hand. The dawn of a new era had begun.